this new program, my coaching, the Legacy of Beauty work, my newsletter, the podcast, and it felt like too much. And I know so many women that feel this in day-to-day life, that sense that there is always more to do and then there is time to do it in. And that things are moving too fast and that you're just trying to do everything you can to just keep up. And even when life looks good, you have this feeling of being behind. And we so often make that mean, I need more time. But the more that I've sat with this, the more I've realized something. Because I don't actually think the issue is time. I think what we experience as a lack of time is often the result of being in a season where decisions haven't been fully made yet.
Welcome to Your Most Beautiful Life, where we go beyond baskets and bins to organize a life that nourishes the best of who you are. Whether you're a new mom finding your rhythm or an empty nester building a legacy, this podcast will inspire and equip you to create a life filled with beauty, peace, and intention. Let's build your most beautiful life together.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm recording this on Easter evening, and it's been such a full couple of days. I actually just came off my 13th week. You know, the way I structure my quarters, where I step back and I rest and I renew. And this time, Shannon and I spent that week in Jackson Hole with my daughter Alex and her husband Devin and their 3 little boys. And it was such a sweet, full, life-giving week. I got to eat great food. I got a lot of rest. I got to bring my camera and take pictures again, which is something I feel like I have to start taking that habit back again. But, we just had a great week together. And we got home late Thursday night, and I had one day to get everything ready for Easter, because we always have a big meal and a big time together. And this year, our family was coming on Saturday. So I woke up Friday morning and I just worked all day, prepping food, getting the house ready, knowing that it was going to be a long, full day of being together and eating and holding babies. And it was. So we spent yesterday together as a family, opening the baskets, watching them play with all their little toys, and eating a beautiful meal together, and just being together in that way that feels, simple, but meaningful all at once. And then this morning we were at church and sitting side by side. Some of us didn't make it. My husband was sick. I'm not feeling too great. But during worship, and everyone after worship, everyone is gone and they're spending time with their in-laws and continuing their day with their family. And I'm sitting here in the quiet of my home, looking at all the grass throughout my house and the leftover candy, and I'm just taking it all in. And honestly, there's really nothing that I enjoy more than being with my family, especially during this time of year where we're celebrating what Jesus has done for us and what he means to us, and the way that truth lives inside of our everyday lives and inside of our home. So when this episode goes live tomorrow, I will be stepping into the very first week of quarter 2, a brand new 12-week season. So there's this feeling of both fullness and beginning all at once. And inside of all of that, there's something else that I've been holding so closely, because today, sitting in church during worship, I was holding my 7th grandbaby, my granddaughter. And by the time you're listening to this tomorrow, she will be 1 month old. And I found myself just sitting there looking at her and remembering everything about the moment she came into the world. and how much that experience has stayed with me. So before we step into today's conversation, I want to take you into that moment with me. I got to be there for the birth of my granddaughter, Scotty Ann. And even as I say that, I can feel it again because it's the kind of moment that doesn't just pass, it settles into you. So from the very beginning of her pregnancy, Morgan knew when her due date was. But a few months into, her pregnancy, Scotty was measuring smaller than expected. So they moved her due date back 10 days. Well, sure enough, 10 days before she was technically due, Morgan called me on a Thursday evening around 8:30, and there was this uncertainty in her voice. She was beginning to feel something, but she wasn't sure if it was real labor just yet. And there was this sense that, she didn't want to rush it. She didn't want to make it into something that it wasn't. And also, she didn't want it to happen because Michael was 4.5 hours away. So I could feel it. And she didn't quite want to believe that she was fully going into labor that evening. So when we got off the phone, I went ahead and I packed my bags and I got ready. And I sat in my bed with my phone in my hand. And I was not settled in, but I wasn't asleep. And just in that quiet space, between waiting and about an hour after that, she called again and she said, "I think you need to come." So Shannon and I grabbed our things and we got in the car and we headed that way. He was going to stay with little Palmer and Brecken. And from there, I drove Morgan to the hospital. So I don't think I will ever forget that drive. I was helping her count the time between her contractions as she was breathing through them. And there was something so steady and so feminine and so strong in the way that she was moving through it. And even in the unknown of it, even in the intensity of it, there was a presence about her that felt so beautiful to witness up close. And I remember thinking how extraordinary it is to watch a woman inside of something that her body already knows how to do. And as we got to the hospital, everything was moving so quickly. She had a birth plan and she had planned to have an epidural. And even just getting through the paperwork and answering questions while she was laboring, you could feel how quickly things were progressing. Then we found out that her doctor wasn't on call. So there was a midwife there that thankfully, it was somebody that Morgan already knew and felt comfortable with. And then very little time passed before it was time to take her to labor and delivery. And as they were moving her, her midwife looked at her. And I just love this moment so much. And she said, "You were made for this, Morgan." And she was. She still hadn't had her epidural, but the anesthesiologist was on the way. And I remember leaning in and asking her if maybe she wanted to be checked before moving forward. And just to see, where she was. She hesitated because she knew that if she was far enough along, that would mean that this would be her first delivery without an epidural. And then she said yes. And when they checked her, she was already at a 9. And in that moment, everything shifted. Being in that room when Scotty Ann was born, and I'm telling you, it happened so quickly. And even unexpectedly for me, like the moment arrived before my mind had a chance to catch up. There she was, perfect and fully formed and right on time. And afterward, with this quiet strength in her voice, Morgan said, "I could do that again." And there was something so powerful in the way she said it because she had just experienced something fully. She was present for it and she felt it. And it didn't take something from her. It gave something to her. She was made for this. And as a mom to the mom and a grandmother to little Scotty, getting to witness that, to be that close to it, to watch my daughter bring her daughter into the world is something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. And I want to pause there for a moment because that experience has stayed with me in a way that I didn't expect. Not just because it was beautiful, but because of how it unfolded. There was no real rushing for the delivery. There was no forcing. There was no trying to control the timing. Everything was being responded to as it was happening. And I found myself coming back to that, especially as I've been moving through this past season of my own life, reflecting and thinking about that, because at the same time that I was holding that experience, I was also coming out of a quarter that, if I'm honest, felt a little unsettled at times. And not really in a bad way, but in a very real way that happens when you are between something, where you're no longer fully in the way things used to be, but you're not yet fully clear on what the next way looks like. So I found myself more than once sitting in that space and asking, what should I be doing right now? Should I wait? Should I change something? Should I keep going as I've been? Or, and I could actually feel that sense of hesitation and that sense of not fully, being grounded in what I was doing. And what was interesting is that in those moments, the thought that kept coming up is, I don't have enough time, because I was looking at everything in front of me. This new program, my coaching, the legacy of beauty work, my newsletter, the podcast, and it felt like too much. And I know so many women that feel this in day-to-day life, that sense that there is always more to do and there is, then there is time to do it in. And that things are moving too fast and that you're just trying to do everything you can to just keep up. And even when life looks good, you have this feeling of being behind. And we so often make that mean, I need more time. But the more that I've sat with this, the more I've realized something. Because I don't actually think the issue is time. I think what we experience as a lack of time is often the result of being in a season where decisions haven't been fully made yet. Because when decisions are not made, your energy gets spread across too many possibilities. You're thinking about things instead of moving forward in them. And you're revisiting things instead of completing them. And you're holding space for too many options at once. And that divides your energy. And when your energy is divided, time feels scarce. And when you make a decision, something shifts. Your energy gathers, your focus becomes clear, and you begin to move. And it doesn't create more time, but it completely changes your experience of it. And I saw this so clearly in my own life because the moment I decided that I was going to keep showing up here each week, even while things are being refined behind the scenes, it settled something inside of me. I didn't need everything figured out. I just needed to decide what mattered right now. And that's why these 12-week rhythms have become so important to me because they are a series of decisions that I've already made. What matters in this season? What I'm focusing on? What I'm building? So I'm not waking up every day trying to figure it all out again. I'm stepping into a life that has already been decided. And that removes one more layer of noise. So the question is not, how do I find more time? The question becomes, where am I still undecided? Where am I holding on to too many possibilities at once? And what would it look like to begin deciding so that my energy can come back together? Because you don't need more time, right? We've been given plenty of time by the creator of time. You need a more decided life. And that's exactly what I'm stepping into. I'd like to invite you to step into as I begin the next 12-week round. And this is just simple. It's nothing. It's just you walking along as well in week 1, right? Starting today. And if you're listening to this and you can feel that desire in you to feel more grounded, more clear, more steady, and in the way you're living your life right now, I want to invite you to step into this next season with me. This is the way that I live my life now, not perfectly, but intentionally, in 12-week seasons where I decide what matters and then I live inside of that decision. And so I created something to support you in that. It's my original 12-week planner and journal, the Plan to Grow journal. And really, this has come out of the season where I felt exactly what we've been talking about today. I felt unclear. I felt unsettled. I felt like I was doing a lot, but not actually grounded in what mattered most. And I realized I didn't need more to do. I needed a way to decide what mattered and then come back to that consistently. So this journal planner is designed to hold both of those things. It's a place where you plan your life and process your life at the same time. You decide what this season is about and then actually live inside of it day to day. It's simple, but it's intentional. And it's meant to grow with you, no matter what season you're in. And as I'm preparing to release a new version later this year, I really wanted to get this one into as many hands as possible. So if this is your first time getting this journal this year, or if you've been wanting to try it for the first time, I'm giving it to you. You can get your very own Plan to Grow journal complimentary. I'm just asking you to cover shipping. So if you want to step into this next 12-week season with me, with more clarity, more intention, and in a way to actually live what we've been talking about here, I would love for you to have it. I'll make sure that the link is available for you in the show notes, and that is something that we're going to keep building on together over the next 12 weeks. But for now, just begin noticing. This might be the beginning of something very different for you. And I'm so glad you're here. And I'll see you next week.
That's it for today on Your Most Beautiful Life. I hope you're feeling inspired to create more beauty, peace, and intention in your everyday life. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you'll never miss what's next. And if you loved it, I'd be so grateful if you leave a review or share it with a friend. Until next time, keep building your most beautiful life.